name is Brian Lee. Can we hear me clearly? Okay. I am at Elk Grove High School as a teacher. I've been in the district. This will be my 20th year. I'm just asking that these comments be entered into the meeting minutes. I don't know if that's protocol, so I'm going to ask that. As Dr. Schuler has informed us, each member of the board has been given a copy of the manifesto that was constructed and signed by a number of District 214 employees. I want to provide some context concerning the manifesto. First off, although we know that there have been many groups and many subgroups that have been formed since I've been in the district involving equity and including racial equity, I personally don't feel all of those positive changes because of those groups. My day-to-day operations and the day-to-day operations of my Black and brown peers don't feel that positive change. This manifesto is in no way calling the district, the board, or our superintendent racist. However, I do want to see that I am being heard and that I'm cared for. It was recently brought to my attention that reading the manifesto is like a gut punch along with losing a few days of sleep. I just want you to keep in mind that what we feel like as Black and brown employees of the district day to day and what we go through at times, and keep that in mind. And as the manifesto is read, just hear the pain of what we're going through and overlook that initial reaction that you have. So I'm going to read the preamble of the manifesto. We find it necessary to speak our truth when during this time there's been a lack of response, acknowledgement, and action plan from the district in terms of the equity issues we're facing in our nation, community, and yes, even District 214. At this time, the district has only acted performatively and the ideas of politics. In the light of recent events, the response that we did receive from the district leadership was disheartening, hurtful, and irresponsible. Although efforts were made in Dr. Schuler's email to staff dated June 2nd, 2020, we feel it came up short, and there was no mention of the Black Lives Matter movement, systematic oppression, recent events. Additionally, this email only shared internally, not with our students, parents, and community. Dr. Schuler's email mentioned people from different backgrounds and student and staff from traditionally underrepresented backgrounds. Inadvertently, it was portrayed that our Black staff and students were not important enough to even get a mention. It was a political route that coddled the majority. Sadly, this underwhelming response was expected due to the lack of representation of Black, Indigenous, and people of color in ESP, EA, and administrative staff. Regardless of the student demographics, regardless of exactly what's going on in the world, specifically who the movement was about. While these events in recent days have been precipitated in the creation of this document, Dr. Schuler's vague email is yet another example of the district not responding to incidents of racism and direct action. It is critical to start making real changes now.
My name is Lily Blackman. I am a Buffalo Grove graduate, and for the past 2 years, I've been a social worker at Vanguard High School. I am going to be the second reader out of 4, and I will start reading the Justice Group's essential action items. Number 1, we would like for the district to conduct an external equity audit for the year 2020 to 21 school year. The results of this audit will be used to inform future instructional and systematic changes on a district and building level, with the review every 3 years. Number 2, we would like the district to provide anti-racist professional development for all staff and administration. We would like them to provide beyond diversity training to all employees of District 214, including all Board of Education members by 2020, with renewal training every 4 years. We would like for funds to be designated each year for new employees to attend the Beyond Diversity training. Designate a minimum of 5 employees per building in the district to go through Beyond Diversity facilitation training to serve as diversity coaches in each building. Allocate 1 day per quarter for all staff to attend racial affinity spaces facilitated by diversity coaches. Designate 2 seeking education, equity, and diversity trainers per building, along with 2 administrators and 27 hours per year for all interested staff members. Provide restorative practices, professional development for all staff members as needed. And reassess professional development practices every 3 years to ensure quality standards are maintained. Number 3, we would like for positions to be created to lead equity and anti-racism work on both a district and building level. That includes a director of equity, assistant director of equity, and full-time employees per building serving as equity liaisons, 1 administrator, 1 EA, 3 ESP, 1 CMA, with at least half by people of color. Number 4, implements and integrates anti-racist goals. The district must have an anti-racist goal in the Board of Education policy. All administration evaluations and EA evaluations that are public and transparent. These goals would inform and guide the formation of district policy curriculum and hiring. The district will report out on progress towards the goals publicly on quarterly updates with the full report on a yearly basis. These goals will also be developed in collaboration with representatives of the District 214 Justice Group.
Hi, I'm Dina Kaplan. I've taught Spanish at Elk Grove for 17 years. Number 5, outlines and implements a strategic plan for review of racist policies and practices by A, developing and implementing anti-racist and decolonized curricula across all subjects. A1, incorporate African American history across all subject areas that go beyond learning about the enslavement of African people and the civil rights movement. A2, remove materials such as literature and textbooks that reinforce racist institutions or assumptions and/or promotes the white savior narrative. A3, produce curricula that amplify BIPOC voices and experiences. A4, create new courses that provide student choice for learning about specific BIPOC history and literature. A5, provide professional development and resources for teachers to create curricula that are anti-racist, inclusive for all students, and honor intersectionality. 5B, observing Juneteenth as a non-attendance school holiday and adding it to the district calendar. 5C, revising dress code policies which, 5C1, ensure the district dress code does not discriminate against students with different cultural backgrounds. 5C2, prohibit violent, racist, sexist, or xenophobic graphics on clothes which are an indirect way of bullying and intimidation, and eliminate a welcoming environment that the district must ensure for all students. 5D, using information provided from the equity audit and training, create a task force to revise and create equitable grading practices, placement, and opportunities within students' schedules. 5E, facilitating improved communication between stakeholders, which include parents, students, staff, community, etc., by providing all communication in various languages to meet the needs of our diverse community, designating additional funds to support needed translation services in each building, and committing to inclusive school communities that represent and respect the voices of all parents, students, staff, and community members. Number 6, re-examine the roles and responsibilities of school resource officers, SRO, security staff, and additional police presence in schools. 6A, include all SRO administrators and security staff in BD and restorative justice training. 6B, reevaluate placement of SRO in each school. Number 7, educate, empower, and support students in equity and/or anti-racism work. 7A, support students organized against racism, known as SOAR, programs at each building. 7B, train 2 paid sponsors in anti-racist work per building for SOAR. 7C, create and support affinity groups and spaces for students during the day.
How you guys doing? My name is Miles Osei, alumni at Prospect High School. I was at Wheeling, now I'm currently at Elk Grove High School. In conclusion, as described in Bisbee's equity statement, Illinois has an urgent and collective responsibility to achieve educational equity by ensuring that all policies, programs, and practices affirm the strengths that each and every child brings within their diverse backgrounds and life experiences, and by delivering the comprehensive supports, programs, and educational opportunities they need to succeed. The June 17, 2020 ISB board meetings also states in resolution affirming the state's board commitment to eliminate racial injustice that it encourages all Illinois public school boards to join us in a commitment to critically examine policies and practices with a racial equity lens, eliminate racial injustice, and as an important message to their communities, adopt and publicly post resolutions affirming that commitment. In addition, page 8 of the ISB Transition Joint Guidance document calls for schools to approach phase 4 guidelines through the lines of equity that educators must recommit to eliminating all forms of racism in our schools' policies. We must be available and open to hearing students' concerns. We must root our curricula in the context of what students see in the world around them. We must value difference. We consider this manifesto to be a living document. We also request that we receive quarterly updates as well as an end of the year school year report on the progress and accomplishments of the aforementioned manifesto points. We ask that this be done through a written statement submitted to a body of social justice educators who we have selected as representatives. We believe that this manifesto must be enacted immediately in order to create an environment where justice is valued over the status quo. The assumption that racism does not exist in D214 is simply not true and must be addressed immediately. It is time to make history that future generations will celebrate. I just want to reiterate one more time. The assumption that racism does not exist in D214 is simply not true and must be addressed immediately. As a Prospect High School alum and a current employee in our district, this rings true. Thank you.